arms towards the sun. You feel the warmth of the rays, and then you know you're alive, and you don't have to be afraid of anything, cause you know the truth, and the truth is love, yes it is. Wasn't what they said to you, or anything that you learned from a book or from the news. It's not like that, cause it's a thing. It is something that you do. Doop 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 doo. Doop 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 doo. Doop 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 doo. Dib on baby did long. Doop 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 doo. Doop 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 doo. Doop 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 doo. Dib on baby did love's the highest truth. Nothing could be higher than love, my friend.
Welcome to the Bassline, everyone. My friend Tanya Cullain, affectionately known as T-Bird in the medical freedom movement, is a vaccine-injured nurse from Ontario. She had her quality of life snatched away from her by her third Pfizer shot. She is taking legal action against Pfizer, the repeat felons, for what they have done to her. It is my privilege to welcome to the Bassline the indomitable T-Bird, Tanya Cullain. How are you this evening, my friend?
I'm great. I mean, I'm doing the best you can. Thanks, Jeremiah. I appreciate you having me on. You're amazing. We have had a lot of laughs since we met. How am I doing? Well, I've spent the last couple of days in bed, unable to get out of bed, like complete lethargy, joint pain, muscle pain, everything. I'm not feeling sorry for myself. It's just the reality of the situation that doesn't get better. And, racing heart, things like that. Do I try to stay positive? Yes. When I meet you and talk to you and our friends on these spaces, it keeps me positive because we're very isolated when we're sick, and there's so many more that are in this situation that don't even realize what's happened to them. So I'm hoping that we can reach as many people as we can. Canada is so censored, and it's hard. It's really hard to see what's happening in our country. And I'm sure, and I just love you guys. You guys are the most amazing country. You're helping us so much. Those of us that are injured here anyway. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of bizarre to see what's going on in Canada. I mean, the US is crazy enough, but as a bystander, it's like, wow, Canada's really gotten out of hand from what I've seen in the past several years. But Tanya, please tell us about your life before you were injured. I know you were very active. I've seen photos of you just appearing to be very fit and athletic. Give us an illustration of your life before your terrible injury, if you could.
Well, I was a competitive athlete my whole life. I didn't even watch television. Both my boys were on their way to professional hockey. One of them wanted to go to football. And I was very active as a regional nursing director. I ran long-term care facilities, and I've raised both my boys 100% alone. So I was, as you can imagine, very busy, like many single parents these days, unfortunately. And there's going to be more, unfortunately, because of this. I was jumping at extreme trampoline, doing flips, front flips, back flips at 45 years old. I'm not the mom that sat on the sidelines. I coached both of my boys' soccer teams because none of the dads wanted to. And I was a competitive soccer player, and I was a gymnast and a platform diver. I did, you name it. I did. My dad coached my baseball team. He coached my brother's hockey team. We were a very athletic family. So I was able to do privatized healthcare, which we don't have in Canada, but I paid privately because I had a great job and I worked my ass off, but excuse my language. But it gave me all my baselines right before COVID happened, ironically. They put me on a treadmill with EKG, had me running on different slants, and you name it. They had me lifting weights with a trainer, and I was hooked up to all these wires. to get a baseline. And on my documents, it clearly says no cardiovascular risk. Like I had no mental health risk. I've got it all in writing. I was perfectly healthy. Like I had not, my blood pressure was 110, 120 over 60. My pulse was 60, sometimes 50. I was super healthy. And then a month later, I got that injection. I waited till May. I didn't want it. And then the government started issuing us notices in our emails that this is your time, you're going. Like you didn't have a choice. It was like, this is your time and your date. Mine was like, the first one was like 8:12 p.m. at this hospital, you will go, blah, 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 blah. You didn't have a choice. Like as a nurse anyway, maybe, and probably not as a lot of people here in this country.
Oh,
Pause.
yeah. I mean, I didn't realize you played so many sports. That's really extraordinary, and sure, extremely frustrating in terms of what you're experiencing now. So tell us now about your injury, if you would. What were the symptoms immediately? What are you experiencing now? Tell us about your injury. I do believe that you were injured particularly by your third shot, but you had reactions as well to the previous two. Tell us the details, if you
Oh
would.
yeah, absolutely. And they gaslight us so bad. I think a lot of medical professionals didn't even realize it was the vaccine. I didn't, right? Even as an RN, I didn't even know what a VAERS report was. I never reported a vaccine injury in my life, and I've been doing this a long time. So I kind of thought it was the vaccine, but then I just kept getting told I was having panic attacks, which I'm like, what? I'm super good under pressure. I'm actually worse when I'm bored. I have more anxiety if I have nothing to do. I'd rather be doing 10 things at once. But I'll tell you this, I collapsed. I was sitting here by myself watching my HGTV. I love my decorating shows. And I literally stood up and my heart was going through my throat. I could feel my heart going through my throat. That's after 3 days after my first one. And but also backtrack, first one, looking at the clock, waiting 15 minutes. I got up, I followed this person out, came out, could not see my friend who drove me there. And I got really foggy. And she said, I didn't know who she was. She had to get me in the car. I didn't know how to get home. She was testing me and she actually got my kids food. She put me to bed and I woke up the next morning and I'm like, my kids are my everything. And I didn't even take care of them that night. And again, vaccines are safe and effective. So I just thought my arm was sore and it was really sore. Like I couldn't move it. And that lasted for a long time, but then it got worse and worse and worse. The point I couldn't even lift a piece of paper with it, my left arm. And I went to the doctor and they gave me a cortisone shot in my elbow to do something, I guess. And that was my first. And then my next shot was 4 weeks later and went and got it because they just told me, probably just had some nerve damage, whatever, where I was thinking it. I don't know. I don't know. You get succumb and I'm a smart nurse. You think I would put two and two together, but no. Uh, so June 12th, I had my second one and then it got worse. I started having dizzy spells, a blurred vision. My heart would be like up at 160 beats a minute while I was sleeping, and felt like it was coming through my throat. I would like sit up, and like I didn't know what was happening. I thought I was going to die. Every night, I wrote a letter to my son in case I died that night, in case he found me dead, and he was 13 at the time. That's not fair. Um, I was driving somewhere on the highway, and you never know when it's going to hit. That's the other thing. It just hits you suddenly where you're perfectly fine. You get in the car, you're going, and then all of a sudden your heart starts racing 1,000 miles an hour. It's not conscious. It just starts going, and then all of a sudden you feel like your head's gonna explode. I pulled over, called 911. Of course, they tell me it's a panic attack again. So that was my experience after the first two, but I kept working through it. And I think a lot of nurses did. We kept just working through it because we kept getting told it was nothing. It's just a panic attack. That's what most of us were told. I know that now. So we kept working and ultimately got terminated because I could not do the job I was doing successfully for so many years because I had to keep leaving. And at some point, call my father, who's 80 years old, to come pick me up at work because my feet were so swollen. I had pitting edema. I looked like a 90-year-old woman with pitting edema, hematomas behind my knees. in my calves there, big black bruises. So that was that was my first two incidents, and those were both hospital incidents. I have the 911 call of when I called 911, and it's horrifying to listen to. Panicking for my life, and then I collapsed. So that's that. The third one is a whole other. It's like it hit every one of my systems differently. So each shot, they were all three Pfizers, all in the left arm, no consents. I don't know who gave them to me. They were not doctors. No doctor gave me a shot. I don't know who gave me the shot because I don't have any kind of confirmation or any kind of form or any kind of consent form. I'll yield there for you.
Wow. Well, have you discovered anything in terms of treatment? I mean, the vaccine injuries that we're aware of. I mean, you and I, just because of the spaces we've been in together, I mean, it's such a wide range of injuries. It's such an unpredictable sort of thing, the effect that it has on each individual person. But in your case, what have you discovered, if anything? Have you had any success in terms of your own treatment?
No, I'm going to be completely honest with you. The third shot, when they told me to take the third shot, and I was like, no, I think it was the vaccine that did this to me. It's made me not myself. I'm not well. Like I'm flushed all the time. I'm swollen. I am like my heart's racing. I can't move my left arm. I still can't move my left arm, remember? So it was January 7th. I had my third vaccine. And that's when I was like paralyzed on my left side. And that's when I started. It took time though. It took time. Nothing was sudden with me. I don't know why that is, but I started going to my son's hockey games and I was like falling up the stands, like falling so hard that my glasses fell off my face for no reason. All of a sudden, my left leg just wouldn't go. I couldn't get up or down stairs. So now I couldn't use my left arm and it was painful. The joint, I said this to my doctor, it's in all my reports. The pain I was in, I mean, I've been kicked in the face in soccer, like literally doing a slide. I was left half back. Yeah, sliding and getting kicked in the face with a metal cleat in my teeth, and all my teeth are shattered and turned to chalk and bleeding. My whole face is bleeding. Nothing felt like the joint pain that this has done to me. And I don't know how else to explain it to anyone. Something was wrong. And I said that to him. I tolerate pain really well, but the pain I'm in constantly, it's in my bones, it's in my muscles, it's in everything in me. It's in my fibers, it's in my tissues, I think. I've never said that before, but I've said it, but probably not to that level that I can't explain the aching and the exhaustion it causes. And so, yeah, they diagnosed me. I have two brain MRIs. They diagnosed me with MS. They've currently diagnosed me with the carbon dioxide disorder now in my lungs in the last 3 weeks. They also just diagnosed me. I had to go to the States in New York, and I got diagnosed with Epstein-Barr virus that is currently active still. I'm not going to go into a lot of big names because I don't even know them. And I don't want to rhyme off a bunch of things like I'm reciting something. I want to say to everyone, if it's shingles, it's shingles. If you have a weird rash, check it out. That's how I feel. This has ruined my life. It's taken my license. It took my life. It took my money. It took my health. My kids now are watching me like shrivel away. I'm sorry if I lost focus there, Jeremiah. I do that because I've demyelination of the brain, and it's everywhere. My occipital lobe, which is at the top, the back, at your at the cerebellum at the back, that's where it is the most massive on the right side. That's what's affecting my left side. And I was perfectly healthy before this, like perfectly healthy.
Well, you're doing great, so no need to apologize at all. Uh, yeah, it's so sad to see what's happened to people, and I mean, I'll just say in terms of my own point of view when all of this stuff was happening, and just trying to figure out, well, what the heck is going on? I mean, I was so naive originally. I thought the criminal act was going to be that they were going to let people take a rush to market vaccine. Like the idea of mandating it. I'm like, "Oh, what are you, crazy? I mean, you just
Mm-hmm,
came up with this stuff. How could you? I mean,
mm-hmm,
I was
mm-hmm.
just taken aback by that. But I'll also add, and maybe I've said this on this program before, but just to be redundant if necessary in terms of documenting my point of view on all of this stuff, is I was initially just totally opposed to being forced to do something in this manner. I didn't really expect, naively, again, I was totally naive. I did not expect these products to be so injurious. And then I was reading and listening in to some pretty interesting things. I've always said that the dissidents in this were so much more articulate than the people who were trying to steer the public into taking this stuff. They were so much more detailed and articulate, and therefore more trustworthy in my point of view. But I was hearing things about these shots causing blood clots potentially, resulting in cancers potentially, resulting in reduced fertility potentially. And I didn't necessarily believe any of that. I was skeptical. I said, well, how would you know that? Or, why would you think that? But all of this stuff is coming to fruition. All of these things that were mentioned before are sadly coming to fruition. And
Mhm.
Dr. Ryan Cole has used the term that these shots are like the Swiss Army knife of injury and death, because I mean, there's so many mechanisms by which they're injuring people, like what you're describing with your left arm. It makes me recall two people. One, a friend of mine who got his shot, and that was just his primary symptom, just persistent soreness in the arm. I mean, I don't recall previous injections having, that symptom necessarily. I'm not in the medical profession like you were, but never really heard of such a thing. Another friend of mine was talking to someone at a party and saying, somehow that the vaccine came up, and she said, yeah, I don't want to take it. And the person who she met at the party said, don't take it. I didn't want to take it. And my family convinced me to take it. And now I have this persistent soreness in my arm. And she said, and look, she, she showed my friend at the party, I can't lift my arm over my head anymore. I didn't have a problem doing that before. So, it's just, I just bring that up to bring up something that I've also mentioned previously, which is that, you have people such as yourself who have been injured so severely as you have been. And then there are people who have been injured not as severely as you, but still considerably, like having like
Mhm.
soreness in your arm. That's not an acceptable consequence for something you were told was a safe intervention. I mean, these crimes,
Absolutely.
they're,
Absolutely. You know what? Um, we knew it was too fast. We did in our instincts. I think everyone did. And, media is guilty. Insurance companies are guilty. Everybody's guilty. And I mean that. They knew what they were doing. I've done my research now. I laid on a couch for a year and a half where my son had to carry me, a 13-year-old had to carry me down the stairs every morning before he went to school. Someone had to pick him up because he didn't have a way to get to school. And then when he came home, I was still on the couch drooling. I didn't eat all day because I couldn't walk. I couldn't, he just left me there on the couch. At least I wasn't in my bed. Um, what does that say about society? I am like alone, and most of us are. So this is the perfect time to do it, right? And the evil that is pursuing us is bigger than we know. And it's very frustrating because there's a lot of people, like I said, my son, well, I've said this to you before. So my son, two of his best friends are, they're 17, he's 17 and they just turned 17, literally like a couple months ago, but he's like 8 months older than them. How does two professional hockey, like a hockey player and a basketball player going to the NBA, had full draft in the NBA, goes blind in both eyes and the other one went blind in the left eye? How does that just happen in one hockey team? And then there's two kids on that same hockey team where their two dads are dead and they're only 40 years old. Drop dead in the middle of the day, 23 years old. Not 23, 42 and 43 years old. One had, I think it was like it's between 40 to 43 years old. I don't know the exact, but you can look at the obituaries. So Vesna, that's one of the last names. And shoot, I'm going to lose the other one. These kids at 16 years old and 17 years old are going home after school at 2:30 and finding their fathers dead in the middle of the house. They weren't drinking. They're not at a party. They didn't do anything. They were hockey players. They were hockey coaches. That's what's happening in Canada. We didn't get the hospital protocol here. We didn't do the remdesivir that I know of. We're getting, I think it's like a low and slow in Canada. Let's see how long these people can suffer, and they're going to drop down like flies that are being poisoned. You guys got murdered. That's how I feel. And I'm just watching it happen. I'm watching it. It's sickening. And no, not one and nothing anyone has told me to take has helped because my blood tests keep coming back super high with anti-nuclear antibodies, SARS-CoV. Now I have Epstein-Barr virus active, like, and plus 750. Like, I'm greater than the highest level right now as we speak. I never had Epstein-Barr. I never had anything. I've never had mono. So this thing gave us things that are so debilitating. It just makes me sad. Sorry if I didn't answer your question there. If you did ask a question,
No, you were just freestyling.
rambling.
You're very much no, not rambling. You were just reacting to my lengthy rambling. But yeah,
It's
um,
real.
yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, and that was a great statement you made. But I want to actually, speaking of evil forces, I would like you to tell us about some of this drama that unfolded recently, where you're a rather visible, well-known figure on Twitter. I would say you're a legend in your own right, and you know, and therefore you have haters and you have trolls, and you as a vaccine injured person, in addition to what you're experiencing, you experience um, some harassment recently, if I'm not mistaken. Could you tell us the story about what brought agents or police officers or whatever authority figures it was that appeared in your home to question you? What happened recently?
Yeah, that was amazing. I'm sorry if I sometimes I get out of breath. It's just I'm not emotional right now. I'm just I because my lungs are really tired, but that's okay. Um, um, I had a space with Albert, the VAERS guy, and it was a
There,
great space.
there,
He
there.
has so much. Oh, he's amazing. Um, Welcome the Eagle. And we had 2 or 3 hours of him going through stuff. He helped me find my VAERS report. He said Pfizer reported mine within 24 hours, which I didn't know because I can't find it. I'm not smart like that, when you're not an IT person. So he reached out to me, hearing me in another space, and just helped me. It's just like, and that's what God is here for. To I mean, I'm not super religious, but who puts someone in your life like that just is like, here, I'm going to send you this copy because they're going to probably try and erase it. But here you go. Pfizer reported the injury on me, so I didn't do it. So he's like, you have 3 Pfizer reports. Yeah, I had 3 Pfizer injuries. So it's all confirmed. It's not, I don't need it confirmed. I know it, but when Pfizer reports it within 24 hours, then that's good. It's not good for me, but it's good for my case. Anyway, the space kept going. It was like 15 hours. I was tired. They keep changing my heart meds. They change all my meds all the time. And I'll be honest, I took a sleeping pill because I was ready to go to sleep. And the space people kept putting their hands up. And I did. I took a sleeping pill, which I have to because my mind is constantly racing. Because if I go to sleep, I don't want to die. And this is a thing, like that causes anxiety. You don't know if your heart's going to stop tonight, and you're never going to see your kids again. It's a terrible thing what they've done. Psychosis is terrible. Um, anyway, it was Father's Day, Sunday, 7:30 a.m. And I have a Nest camera, and my doorbell rings. I'm like, who the heck is calling me at this hour? I'm going back to sleep. I had just fallen asleep. Put the pillow back over my head, ignored it, whatever. And a couple hours later, I rolled over, grabbed my phone like we always do. I'm sure we all do that. And I just kind of scrolled through, and I'm like, oh, there's a bunch of cops on my front door. I'm like, oh my God, what did my other son do? What? So I start calling, like, is everybody okay? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know what happened. And then I called my best friend, and I said to her, Linda, I think because the night before, at the end of the night, I was really mad about Fauci because I was feeling like I was drowning. And I remember saying, I wish he could feel the way I feel every day, because the way I feel is one of my major symptoms that debilitates me is it feels like a horse is standing on my throat. I feel like a frog drowning in a pool. You know, when you get stuck in the filter. I feel bloated, my everything. This is my life every freaking day. And I watched him on trial that week, and I think that's what infuriated me. And I said, like, down with Fauci, or he needs to feel like he's drowning like I do every day. I don't want him dead. No, I never said that, because dead is easy. No, I want him to suffer the way I'm suffering, because he did do this. He knows he did. And to say, I don't recall. So I was just like mad as hell. I don't remember what I said. I swear to God, I've never listened to the recording again. And I, to this day, will not, because yeah, I probably shouldn't. I should have been asleep, but I'm sick and I'm angry. I'm disabled. I have a brain injury. And I said it. Yeah, I'm pissed off at him. I'm pissed off at Fauci. So yeah, someone, Jan Kirsch and Susan, the panda, and some other tagline. I've got it all saved, and we have it all saved behind everyone, because they wrote at FBI. They reported me so they could protect Fauci. And I got reported to the FBI to come and arrest me for threats to kill Fauci. And I'm like walking to the door. I knew they were coming the second time, because I'm not stupid. So I painted my toenails that day, and I just waited and waited for them. And they did come back, and they sent some massive black dude. Oh my God, he must have been 6'8", black as night. And then this little tiny white girl with glasses hanging off her nose and bobby pins in her hair. I'm like, oh, what the fuck is this? And they're like, what did you? Yeah, it was quite the combo. I'm like, they're like, they didn't, I said hi, and they're like, are you Tanya Cullain? I'm like, yep. And he says, what did you say about Fauci? I'm like, what are you talking about? Yep, that was his first question. So it was nothing. It was that specifically on this platform. And guess what? X didn't censor anything I said. It was my space. They didn't warn me. They didn't block me. They didn't cut my gown off. I mean, they might now, but nothing happened, because I didn't say anything wrong. I think they took my recording and mastered it and then shared it around. And whatever this Jan Kirsch, and I have proof of that in the screenshots. And I have screenshots of everything I do. And I always send it to a secret account, because I want it saved, because it was taken off my phone and my computer. But guess what? I still had it. So yeah, I know exactly who did it. And it's not right. These people now are trying to get us arrested for saying what happened and who did it. And I'm not out there picketing, because I can't even get out of bed. So I said to them, what am I supposed to do? Like, hit them with a pillow? Like, what? I can't fight. I can't barely breathe. But I'm mad. Yeah, I'm mad. He took my life. And he took many people's lives, and no one talks about it. No one's allowed to talk about it. Keep your mouth shut, or we'll send the police. When are the police going to wake up and go, we're not showing up? That's bullshit. She's a nurse. Do your investigation behind the scenes first before you come and try and arrest me. They tried to also, when they came, and they're like, you should come and step out. Oh wait, can you let us inside so you're not embarrassed? There were SUVs all down my street. I'm in like a little suburb, nice little, really nice area. Yeah, SUVs. Like, what am I gonna do? I'm in Canada. I don't have a gun. And we're not allowed to have guns. Well, over maybe in the West, but I'm in Ontario. No, I don't have anything. I don't have weapons. Anyway, yeah, there's SUVs all up my street. Looks like, why can't you guys go fight the real guys? Like, I actually said that to them at one point. It's all in my Nest video. But I just said, I'm disabled. What am I, like, what do you want from me? Like, what do you think I'm going to do? They just kept wanting a sentence. So all I said to them was, I don't recall. I don't recall. I think I might have been drunk. I don't know. It was late. I was tired. That's what I said. And this is real though. This is real. I was crying. I'm tough on the outside, but I'm still a single mom, and I couldn't believe what was happening. If they're going to send this many cops in one day on a Father's Day Sunday, like, to ask me about Fauci, it's probably not even really him. He's in a bunker somewhere. Like, let's be honest. I'm not stupid. I'm just mad. Like, he took my fucking life, bastard. And the whole team and all the
Watch
scientists.
the F-bombs for the family
Sorry.
audience.
Excuse my language. I'm just mad. I'm angry right now, because it's killing children still. I apologize.
No, totally. Understood.
Yeah, I'll take that back. Excuse my language.
Yeah, it's unbelievable what's transpired here. And yeah, I'm sure that was had to be somewhat traumatic. I mean, you know, don't expect to have the authorities showing up early in the morning on a Father's Day Sunday at all. But speaking of battles and fighting back, you do have a forthcoming legal battle. I don't want to get you to say anything whatsoever, of course, to jeopardize your case. Usually there's some sort of instructions from the attorney. So obviously, whatever you can tell us within reason. But what is the basis of your case? Obviously, your injuries. But here in the United States, there's this whole issue of the liability protection that's granted to these pharmaceutical corporations. Is it the same in Canada, more or less, or how does some of that work? And what can you tell us about your forthcoming legal battle? Do you have a court date set yet?
Oh gosh, no, this is gonna take years. Um, it took me 3 years to find a lawyer, and even then, he's taken most of my money, thousands and thousands, and I don't have any money, right? I took all my savings out of my safety deposit box. It's gone. All my savings are gone, and I gave him all my reports, everything I had, all the research I've done, everything. Um, it's an open and closed, shut door, whatever that saying is. I'm Archie Bunker, sorry. Um, but like it's so obvious what happened, and so yes, we are suing Pfizer New York, Pfizer Germany, and Pfizer Montreal, as well as the government of Canada. But there's not much to say at this point because everything's at a standstill because everything takes so long, and I'm not sure why, to be honest. So I will keep you posted on that one and love to stay in touch with you and keep you posted on how that case goes because I have a plethora of ammunition against them. And excuse the pun, but
The
it's my
metaphor,
paperwork.
right?
Yes, a metaphor of paperwork of they said, well, you're gonna have to send everything from 2016 to now. I'm like, perfect, no problem, got it, done it, did it, got it. So they're gonna see, like, I don't know, they're gonna look for every angle of something else, right? And I know that I'm not stupid, but I can't deny what happened to me. And I will not, I'll roll over in my grave. Um, if I didn't do this. And my parents were like, and that's the other thing that people don't talk about. My family does not support me whatsoever. They just tell me to shut your mouth, turn your head, you're going to get yourself in trouble. They just, and that's hard when your own family doesn't support you, not because they don't think you're sick, but because they don't want you getting in trouble. And I'm just not that kid. Um, I won't, no, I won't. I'm doing this for my kids and I'm doing this for your kids, Jeremiah. I'm doing this. We got to stop these freaking shots. Every time I go to the pharmacy, I bring the Pfizer documents with me, the unredacted ones. Every time I go to a doctor's appointment, every psychiatrist they give, oh, here you go. And they're like, we don't believe this. Like it's always a fight. They all got each other's ass. That's what it is in medical. We are taught that in nursing school. In medical school, we are taught CYA. And anyone medical listening knows that. It's called CYA. Cover your ass. You cover each other's butts. I'm not covering anyone's butts. If no one's going to stand up at this point, and they're still giving me shots, they shouldn't have a license as far as I'm concerned. Because it's
Right,
no,
right.
it's yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, for those who administered these shots to babies and the pregnant women, I mean, life in prison at a minimum. I think I mean, crimes against humanity is not an exaggeration at all. And, to call this a violation of Nuremberg, not an exaggeration at all. I mean, it's really troubling to me that people can't see that. It's just very, very clear that this was a violation of Nuremberg. And, you know, I totally agree with you in terms of our obligation, particularly to the future generations, because um, they're the ones who stand to be harmed more than any of us, frankly, in terms of the direction society is going. And this medical tyranny thing that's happening, it's one terrible symptom of a range of really concerning things that are happening across, the so-called developed world. I mean, for this audience, we talked a little bit with Ryan Christian of Last American Vagabond about CBDCs, the central bank digital currency, basically the idea of a cashless society. But in general, just the idea of the human being as superfluous. The human being is to be experimented on, edited, um, exterminated if need be, if they're taking up too much space, breathing too much air, eating too much food. But this, we were in a great space earlier on Twitter, was a Team Humanity. It was a get together of Team Humanity. And I really do view it like that for the listening audience. It's not clear on my politics. At this point, I think that the left-right paradigm is outdated, more or less. I think it's more or less obsolete. I think the whole Cold War sort of mindset is not sufficient to comprehend what's happening now. And I do view it as Team Humanity versus Team Transhumanism. People who really think, again, the human being is just to be experimented on, edited, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, we could refer to the disturbing remarks of Klaus Schwab, Yuval Noah Harari. And I have to ask the question, who feeds them these lines? I mean, if those are the people that we see, I'm suspicious that there might be people that we do not see, or people whose names we do not know at all, that might be influencing our lives or organizing this heinous plot that we're being subjected to. What would you like to see, T. Bird, in terms of the medical freedom movement and what you think we should be focusing on? I mean, there's so many courses of action, and first of all, just the ongoing issue of trying to get the best possible treatment for the vaccine injured. But in addition to better treatment, legal actions, where do you see the vaccine, not the vaccine injured movement, but the medical freedom movement, which of course includes the vaccine injured? Um, where would you like to see us going? What kind of goals do you think we should set, and what do you think we can achieve in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, that's a tough one. No one's really experimenting on the ones of us that are still alive and clearly suffering from it, and comparing us to those of us who have had 3 Pfizers and have no symptoms. I think that's a really great scientific project right there. I think that would be a good start, like someone that is unvaccinated. And so, like someone like you, someone like you're not vaccinated. My best friend has 3 Pfizers. She has had no symptoms. She's exactly my age, perfectly healthy, thin, blah, blah, blah. And then me, who gets affected each time. Test us, test the 3 of us. What is the difference? Or you, like, not obviously you're not like, maybe test 3 white females that are the same, or 3 black females that are exactly, I don't know the genetic part, because I do have that in my genes too, right? So you don't know, like, well, lots of us have lots of genes in our bodies that are not what we look like. So I think if no one's going to do the proper testing, I reached out to Philip Buckard and I'm like, I'm going to send you my DNA from 2016. Why did I have it done? Who knows? And I didn't do it through 23andMe. It was a full professional gene workup of, guess what? I have a clotting disorder, which is interesting, which it's like a hemophilic. And it might be the only reason I'm alive today, because I didn't clot, right? But I can't take Coumadin. It's like that was genetically told to me in 2016. Interestingly, if I hadn't done a gene test, most people don't do that. What I would like to see is, oh gosh, honey, that's a big question.
It is.
I'm seeing a lot of us coming together for real, and we're seeing real people, the ones that are really going through this and are not faking it for any other reason. we are coming together. And I think behind the scenes, many of us are supporting each other. What is it? $20 here, $20, $5. We're all supporting each other financially. Would it be nice to have our physicians all come together if they could get on the same page without feeling that they're going to lose their license? I think it needs to be a redo of the College of Physicians. The College of Physicians needs to look at who's paying them, because I think that's something no one's mentioned yet, as far as I'm concerned. Has anyone looked at the College of Physicians and where, because you know what I did? I actually called the College of Nurses. And when this was all happening, I said, are you mandating the shot? I haven't, and everyone should do everything in an email because it's timestamped. That's my professional opinion. And when I said, do, they got back to me within a couple days and they said, no, the College of Nurses do not support vaccine mandates. It's up to your employer. I have that in writing. It's in my legal case. So, people need to start asking questions, but put it in writing. Don't just talk in spaces. Don't make a phone call. Put an email out there and get that answer and copy it and print it. Don't save it anywhere. Print it. That's my advice. What do I see? I hope that helps. I don't know, hon.
No, you made some great points there. I mean, I think there are some exciting things happening in terms of doctors creating some alternative modes of care and some new concepts around that, and even the new structure of a healthcare system that we deserve as decent citizens of a potentially decent or hopefully decent society. But it would be nice to see just more funding for that, something that doesn't seem like an uphill battle, or something that doesn't seem like an esoteric venture, but something that is just getting the proper funding and just making some new facilities. And there should be a center for the vaccine injured. We're
Yes.
so numerous at this point, and there's so many different side effects. That's one of the big problems, of course, that we're dealing with, is that it's not just treating one ailment. It's such a wide range of symptoms people are experiencing: eye problems, ear problems, skin problems, acute organ failure, cancers, blood clotting, 1,291 side effects according to the Pfizer document. So
it's a brilliant, evil plan. They attacked each organ at different times, each person at different times it will happen. And it's going to be gradual for a lot, so that it's underestimated how much they're going to kill. And that everyone will have an excuse. Well, that just happened because of this. No, this was a planned experiment for a long time. This wasn't, and they knew the vaccine was going to escalate it. It attacks your autoimmune system, autonomic disease in all your organs. That is a fact. And I'm not afraid of having HIV. I'm not afraid of having veins. I have everything else. That stuff doesn't scare me, that I have an autoimmune disease. Yeah, that's what AIDS is. If people can get over that. Oh, I've got AIDS. No, autoimmune disorder syndrome. That's what people need to get through their head. These acronyms need to be clear for people. They've attacked your immune system. That's what they did. They attacked your immune system. And depending on who you are, whichever organ it is they feel like it's going to attack, they're experimenting on us and watching from afar. So that's my feeling. I actually am medically trained, so that's my belief, scientific belief. And it's very disappointing that such evil people did this to such good people and innocent people. But you know what doesn't kill you make you stronger. There's a metaphor. And will also bring the strength together. They didn't. Maybe I'll be dead by tomorrow morning, mind you, or arrested, but whatever. What can I do? I'm glad I did this interview, because this is really happening, and Canadians are not awake at all. They don't have to burn our forests down. We're too stupid, and I'm saying that globally. I just feel stupid as a Canadian. And you know what though? I go into Canadian spaces, and all they do is fight. They yell at each other.
They raise their voices. They're obnoxious. And I'm a Canadian, and I love being Canadian, and I might be a little bit loud too, but I don't like going in those spaces because they become so aggressive. You can't get to the point. You can't get to a resolution. And that's the problem with Canadians, I think. We might be nice, or we used to be nice anyway. I don't know. Maybe this injection made everyone angry, like angry mice. But I don't see the nice anymore, to be honest. I don't see the nice mice.
Yeah, I mean, there is the whole question of the psychological effects these shots are having. I mean, that's another thing that's been recorded in VAERS, full-blown psychosis and other psychological disorders, things that would be psychological, psychiatric in nature, which, people say, oh, well, how could that be? Well, thrombosis, because there's all these different types of thrombosis. So maybe lipid nanoparticle permeating of the blood-brain barrier. I mean, again, I'm no expert, but based on all that I've heard, based on all that I've read, maybe that's what's happening. It's really unbelievable. A good friend of mine who was alerted to all this stuff pretty early on. We were sort of consulting each other as everything was happening. He works in restaurants in Los Angeles, and the restaurant where he works, there was just a memorial for one of their favorite customers, relatively young woman, died suddenly. Another died suddenly case. He sent me that text a few days ago. A friend died suddenly recently, or yesterday, at that time. And these cases continue to happen. I open up the news app that's on my phone. Young people dying every day, pretty much. I mean, I could say almost every day, but it's more or less every day, and sometimes it's more than one in a day. And one of the features of what's happening, just in terms of for the historical record, is that the cause of death is not being listed, which Professor Mark Crispin Miller pointed that out on this program. But that was historically always recorded in obituaries. And if you notice, more and more, there's no cause of death, or they'll say, like the title of Ed Dowd's book, Cause Unknown. It's a terrifying thing that's happening. There was a new paper that came out of Italy that was shared by Dr. Kat Lindley yesterday. I think it was just yesterday. New paper out of Italy noticing the excess deaths. And it's really scary because a lot of people who bought into this stuff, who still defend the tyranny and still defend these terrible, ineffective, and dangerous products, they want to be in denial of the fact that excess death is happening, but it's a fact now. Like, you can come to grips with it now, you can come to grips with it later, but it's definitely happening. So as scary
I'll
as it
tell
is,
you, one of the things, I work with coroners, so my whole life, right? There's so many things I could tell you right now, Jeremiah, that are just the way things have always been, and then all of a sudden everything changed in 2017. 2017, we would get the nasal
try
pharyngeal
to talk
swabs.
directly into your microphone as well as you can, because I can hear you pretty well, but I think I could hear you a little bit more clearly before.
I apologize. It's probably, I was too close.
There you
Can
go.
you
That's
hear
so
me
much
now?
better. Yeah, that's so much better. I should have told you
All
that
right.
before your last statement, but hopefully
I walked by my AirPods and they connected, unfortunately. Nasopharyngeal swabs. So that's something huge. They got taken away from us. Well, for the 25 years I've ever done it, we would get bags in flu season and they'd be labeled, what the expiry date was, blah, blah, blah. And we'd have all these nasopharyngeal swabs delivered by Public Health of PHAC, right? And Public Health Agency of Canada, which is the same in the States, but different logo, obviously. And they stopped giving them to us in 2017. And I wrote everything in the emails. So I have everything timestamped. I have all the records. Why are you not sending us this? Because you guys don't work on the weekends, right? You're government workers. You work Monday to Friday, 8 to 3. If we have an outbreak of influenza on a Friday or a Saturday, I don't have a swab to test this person. It just stopped, Jeremiah. And that's a fact. Anyway, they said, oh no, well, we're just not doing that because it's too expensive. There's too much waste. I'm like, we always go through them the whole, like, I mean, I've had 300 people in one facility alone, and we don't want to be waiting 3 days to test someone. Right. Okay. So I knew right then something was up then with the nasopharyngeal swabs. They must have pulled them off the market so they could put that animal biohazard that I detected. Remember, I pulled the inserts? I told you that. So when you pull the insert of the nasopharyngeal swab, it says right in it, animal biohazard warning, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, there's tons of information in the insert, but people didn't read it. But oh my God, I don't even know where I was going with that now, because it just makes me so mad about coroners. So
Right.
I work really close with the coroners. So the rules have been for the last 3 decades that I've been working, probably longer than me. I can only speak for 3 decades of myself. So the rules were that if you had, even in a geriatric facility with an expected death, whatever the death was at the 10th death, it didn't matter if it was close to the other one. It could be 6 months later. So you had to keep a record of your first death date, blah, blah, what happened, second. Blah. When it got to the 10th, it was an automatic coroner's case. So I call one of my girlfriends, who's the head coroner here. She's retired. She's in her 80s now. And I said, can you send me all the coroner data? And she did. As you know, I have the whole document. And it showed everything. And guess what? It didn't give the code for vaccine injury. It only gave codes for COVID. And she said they were told, I promise you this, they were told to stand back. And she was military before that, by the way. Stand back. You are not going into any more homes. Just let them call the time of death. So there were no coroner cases. Is that not interesting?
Mm.
That is a fact. That is an absolute fact. No, and I remember thinking, like, why are there no coroner cases? Like, we've been doing this forever. If 10 people died, but no one died during COVID in my homes, so we didn't have coroner cases. But when I listened to you guys, it was like people were dying like tens and thousands, like they were just like dead. So I mean, people did die, obviously, but it wasn't. I don't think it was coronavirus. I think it was something else, but that's just me. Anyway, I just wanted to say that the whole coroner thing, that doesn't make sense to me. And I was very close to a lot of coroners, and I worked very closely with them. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting things, and everyone just listened. These are professionals. They just listened we all listened. I didn't give anyone a vaccine, thank God. And I feel for people who did, but in the moment, I don't blame the people immediately in the beginning. I can't, because I really didn't know either. I just knew I didn't want to give any, and I didn't believe in them, but I feel sorry for the people who did it and didn't want to. But if you're still giving them, yeah, that's not cool. They should be more educated at this point.
Yeah, it's amazing how people have succeeded in shielding themselves from the reality of what's happened up until now. But I guess if you're so set on something in the first place, which I find strange. I mean, it definitely was rushed to market. Rushing something is definitely a significant factor. mRNA as a platform sounded pretty dubious to me. I mean, really surprised more people weren't just a little bit alarmed by the description of it, inducing the body to produce foreign proteins. I mean, that should, it seems like something you'd be kind of skeptical about, perhaps, and at least understanding of other people being skeptical of it. But it was so amazing how the people who were into the agenda, they just swept aside